What's up everyone, Lord MC here. Wanted to give you guys a quick update on where I potentially see the markets going, especially coming into a very important day Wednesday with FOMC meeting coming in at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where Jerome Powell will be talking about the federal rate interest decision. So before I get into that, I want to preface by saying I'm not a financial advisor. None of the things I say in my videos or anywhere else is ever financial advice. So do your own research, question everything, and come out with your own conclusions. So having said that, let's jump right into it. SPY here on the 1 day. Had a very interesting day here. It did go as high as 390.39 and the low being 383.29 before finishing the day at $384.52. I did mention in my previous video that in order for the SPY to continue seeing anything higher than 390s, it would have to cross a critical level of resistance here at 390.19. And if we jump over to the 5-minute real quick, we did get above 390.19 in pre-market, but at open we did fail to get above that. Like around 3 times we tested 390.19, and unfortunately we were not able to get above. So what are our levels of support and resistance coming into tomorrow? So if FOMC is bullish, I'm going to give you guys a bullish case scenario of where I see the SPY going into a bullish FOMC. So if I bring out my drawings, I know there's a lot here, but bear with me. If FOMC is bullish, I do have a level that we still need to break, and that would be 390.19. If we break above that, we could potentially see 393.84, and after that we could see a target of 404. On the 2-day, there is a harmonic pattern here generated at the 3-day. It's much clearer. Remove this. So if we're doing this type 1 reaction here, level of resistance would be here at 393, which is what I was calling out at 393.84, which there's another harmonic target there. But if we can break out above 393, we are going to have some chop up to 404, but if we do break it, I do believe we can see 404 on a bullish FOMC meeting. And potentially down the line, if it's very bullish, depending on what Jerome Powell says, if he's going to do a 50 BPS later down the line, then that could potentially have a melt up to 433, and we will see if that is going to happen, but we'll take it step by step. At 404, I would have my target here where I could potentially see it push up there if bullish news comes out of that FOMC meeting. Otherwise, we have to look at the potential downside of the bearish case scenario, and what is that? So on the bearish case scenario, if we bring out my drawings back again on the 1 day, if we do get bearish FOMC meeting, we are possibly going to come back and test 381. There is a trading range between 381 and 383 where if SPY loses that range, we could potentially start looking anywhere between going back down to even test 371. There is a trading range here between 374.67 and 371.67 that I have here, where SPY has broken out and also retested and breaking back in and failing to get. If it fails, and it breaks out of it. So this level here, this trading range, if we lose 371.67, we are possibly going to come back to the low 360s and possibly down the line create new lower lows. Maybe back down to test 350s. 347 would be a key critical level here. If we lose 347, we could potentially see 330, maybe even 320, depending on how bearish it is. But in my opinion, I highly doubt that, especially with midterms coming along. I do think if at least the Democrats want to stay in office and have a chance to compete for the next election, they, in my opinion, would prep up the market so they get some of those votes in. But that's just my opinion. So those would be your levels of support and resistances on SPY. Jumping over to the triple Qs real quick. The triple Qs here did have finished a negative 1.02% for the day. It closed at 275.11. So the same thing could be said about the Nasdaq here. It was looking like it was doing a type 1 reaction here. So we would need it to go above this level here at 276.85 for continuation to test 284 and then 289 at target 1 to finish that type 1 reaction, maybe there is a gap up here at 306 with the bullish FOMC. We could potentially start filling up that gap if it wants to do that. Otherwise, losing where it's currently at 275, we could potentially start looking at 265. Losing 260 would be very concerning, and we would come back to test hop at 256. So just like anything, we're waiting on FOMC to see what that move is going to be. So jumping over to the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones is the most bullish out of all the indices here, and like I said before, usually the the Dow Jones does its first move and then the others follow. As you can tell here, on its descending broadening wedge, the Dow Jones did touch the top of that trend line here. It went above it, now it's coming back down, and this would be interesting to see if it's doing a type 2 reaction now, right? Type 2 reaction would come back down, test 322. If it loses 322, you could potentially start looking at 309. But there will be some chop, so 322, back to 320, and then 316, and then 309. Losing 309 is going to be very bad for the Dow Jones. Losing 309, you can go back to 290, possibly gap down to fill the gap at between 288, call it 289, and 284. So we will see what that FOMC meeting is like. Otherwise, you can see continuation to create to go as high, go maybe above the August highs here, above 343, which would be very, very bullish. But we will have to keep an eye out on that. Jumping over to Apple. Apple did finish the day at negative 1.75% for the day. It unfortunately lost this key target here that I had at 153.10, and is now at target 1 after it did a beautiful type 1 reaction here on the daily. It did do the test target 1 at 150.33, couldn't hold. It failed the 200 SMA, so luckily it finished the day at above 150.33. So if it loses 150.33, you could potentially start looking at 148.05. In my opinion, losing 148.05, you can come crashing down to 138.60. So, like again, I think tomorrow is going to be a sideways trading to see what the FOMC is going to say, and what Jerome specifically is going to say in that press conference. So, we'll have to just wait patiently to see what the move is, what the expected move will be at. So, jumping over to Tesla here. Tesla had a very interesting day. Finished at negative 0.12% for the day. Went as high as 237.40 before closing the day at 227.82. I drew this line here at 236.23, which if I jump over to the 5-minute right here, I did mention that if we could get above 236.23 with volume, that Tesla could potentially start moving fast to test 250. We got rejected at open twice, and then we broke up with volume, and we went as high as 237.40. But unfortunately, with SPY news and the market news, we got flushed down here, and now we are expecting to see with FOMC again, everything will move up. So what are those levels of support and resistances that we're looking at here? I do not want Tesla to lose to 27.82. Otherwise, we will be coming down to test possible 200s again. I think in the 3-day gives us a better indication of the harmonic here. So yeah, if we lose 227, we're going to come back down, possibly test 208.79. Losing 208.79, we will come down to 149.59. But on the weekly, there is some support before we get to 150, and that would be the 200 EMA at 188. So that's a bearish case scenario. Bullish case scenario, we break above 236, and it's clear skies to fill the gap up, even up to 260. But there will be some chop if bullish news comes out on FOMC, right? So if we can get clear above 236, the next level of support would be at 248, and then 253. So we will keep an eye out on that. Jumping over to GameStop here. So GameStop on the 1-day had a very interesting pre-market open here. If we go back to the 5-minute, it was bullish on pre-market. It went as high as $29.69, almost $30. Unfortunately, came back down. I did mention in my previous video that I wanted it to finish closing the day at minimum of 27.57, and it finished closing the day at 28.39. So I'm still bullish on GameStop here. So as far as we are above XA, we could potentially see 30 again, and if we get above 30, we can move to $36.40 pretty fast. Otherwise, we did bounce off the 90 EMA here, so if we lose the 90 EMA here at 26.36, we could potentially start looking at $25. In which case, like I said before, I would reposition for longer dated options expiration for maybe the January call expirations, but we'll have to see what that does. To me, GameStop looks very bullish, but yeah, we will see what we expect tomorrow with FOMC. So jumping over to AMC real quick. AMC on the 1 day finished the day negative 7.66% for the day. It did have a push up to 685 before going as low as 613 and closing the day at 615. Everything I had mentioned in my video last night did happen. I said if we did lose, I did not want it to lose the 90 EMA, and fortunately we lost it. I did mention that in my video that if we lost the 90 EMA here, that we would next level of support would be 640, and in this channel that we were trading in, and unfortunately we did fall short of that, and we fell down to I think 613 was the lowest. Yeah, 613 was the lowest. So I did mention that if we do lose this level here, we could potentially start looking at possible high $5, maybe 560. It would be a concerning point that I would not like it to come down to. We do have to realize that on the weekly there is a death cross coming, right? The death cross did happen on the EMAs, so the move could have already happened, but the SMAs here are approaching another death cross here, so we don't know if that's a lagging or not, but we have to also pay attention to what that's saying. So harmonically, if I jump over to, I think it's a 2 hour. Yep, the 2 hour here has a bullish Gartley here. The level hop here was 616, and we got that. So we did get an HSI arrow triggered. So we would like to see continuation, possible reversal, get back in this channel, and possibly start testing at 639, 665, and then target 2 at 685 if it wants to do that type 1 reaction. Otherwise, we do have to consider drop targets below 602, 613, excuse me, and continue downside to possibly the $5 and $68 range. But hopefully we get some bullish news. If everything comes out bullish tomorrow, we're gonna get a market rally. Otherwise, we will see continuation to the downside. So that's all I have for you guys. I will be streaming tomorrow, normal time, 15 minutes before open. So if you want to catch me there, just follow me on Twitch. The description to my link, the link to my Twitch is on my description box. So yeah, that's all I have. If you like this type of content, please consider giving me a like, subscribing to the channel. It does help me out. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and take care, everybody. Peace.